Good evening, everyone. Welcome, students and parents, to our Year 11 information evening. I'm very excited that we have this opportunity to connect with you and be able to share some very important information to help the journey that your daughter has here at Caroline Chisholm College. I'm the Principal Leader, Tanya Cairns, as you may have gathered, and I would like to introduce to you this evening our team, the team who are here to present to you the ways in which that we will support your daughter in this very important journey through Year 11 and Year 12. So first of all, I'd like to introduce to you Julie Petrovsky, who is our new Assistant Principal, and Julie looks after both learning and wellbeing. And what I'd like to say to you is, in doing that job, that she will look after Year 7, Year 9 and Year 11. So if you're looking for the right person at that level, because we do have two assistant principals, I also have Debbie White as the colleague assistant principal, and Debbie looks after Year 8, 10 and 12. But they are both across the learning and wellbeing agenda. So tonight, we welcome Julie to the college and as our assistant principal, specifically focusing on Year 11. I also would like to introduce to you Miss Tabitha Brown, and she's new to the college and she'll talk a little bit about herself, but she is our Year 11 leader. So welcome, Tabitha. And moving down the table, we also have Mrs. Natalie Bella. And you will know Natalie because Natalie is our HSIE Leader of Learning, but she's taking on a new role this year. She's stepped right up and she is our leader she's staying with the position of the HSIE leader. She won't let that go. But as well as that, she's very well equipped to be our leader of curriculum and instructional coach. Very big title. But Natalie is going to look after that with great dignity and pride, as she always does. So welcome, Natalie. Thanks, and she'll be sharing some very strong guiding points about learning in Year 11. And so she will be very much a go-to person, but I'll leave that to Natalie in terms of how she unpacks and explains that. And then at the end here, we have Miss Nikki Alsomgeest.
Good evening.
Thank you. And she is our what am I saying? Our partnerships manager. I won't add in business as well on top of that. She's good, but I think we'll just leave it at partnerships.
Someone else, yeah.
Exactly. But I know many of you, or all the girls will most definitely know Nikki, but for the parents, sometimes there isn't those opportunities to interact on a day-to-day basis. But Nikki's job is very specific. It's huge. But you will get a sense very much of how she will be supporting your daughter in a very specific way, coaching, directing and guiding along that journey through Year 11 and 12. So thank you very much for being here, Nikki, and being able to add value to our presentation this evening. So with nothing further to do, I think we should start the evening, and I'd like to hand over to Mrs. Julie Petrovsky in doing so. Thank you, Julie.
Thanks. So I'd just like to start with an acknowledgement of country. So today I would like to acknowledge the Darug people, who are the traditional custodians of this land here in Western Sydney. People who have loved and cared for this land for thousands of years. I would also like to pay respect to the elders of the Darug Nation, both past and present, and extend that respect to other Aboriginal people present. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Loving God, we thank you for the example of Caroline Chisholm, the immigrant's friend. Help us to befriend all those we meet so that we can truly follow in her footsteps. Teach us how to use knowledge and talents to help others and to create a better world. Grant us the grace to grow in love for you and for learning so that we may always be models of faith, courage and tolerance. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen. Caroline Chisholm, pray for us. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you so much, Julie. So just to start with tonight, I wanted to start with this beautiful image of three Chisholm girls, and they are our captain, Abby Affleck, and our two vice captains, Chloe and Monique Heitman. And the girls are very well known to the entire school community. But in fact, we could have any one of our girls leading this beautiful college. It's a place of great warmth. It's very inviting, very welcoming, but it's a place for your daughter to grow substantially through from year 7 through to year 12 to become the best person that she can be and unlock her potential to whatever the future holds for her. So in being here at Carolyn Chisholm, I can say to you, the teaching staff here are absolutely sensational. They give so much of themselves, and the teaching and learning is of high quality. They are dedicated, they are professional, they are committed. And in seeking a school, and I know many students who have come to us, only a few actually, when I say many, they've joined into the Year 11 journey knowing that they are going to be really well supported in that journey. So our students are led by, obviously, the college executive, and our school captains play a significant role along with the student senior leadership team of the college. So I want you to know it's not all about the staff. It's very much about the students and how they can empower the girls to actually be the best that they can be and achieve their potential. This Friday, we have a very, very important occasion at the college whereby we will be celebrating the achievements of our 2022 HSC High Achievers. It's a very, very important and significant occasion for our community. We like to recognise those students, and there are many of them, but I need you to know, girls, that each one of you as Year 11 students have the capability and the potential to achieve to that standard. Now, as we go through our presentation this evening, you're going to hear lots about the ways in which you can actually be growing all the way through on your journey. The step up that you've taken, sorry, I'll go into talking about the partnerships before I go on to your individual journey. I want to say to you as the students and the parents that in Year 11 and Year 12, the journey is a journey that requires us to be very strong and positive partners working to the benefit of your daughter. And I can't stress that enough to you. Of course, this has been happening all the way through their learning journey since they started in kindy. But once we reach that final point, the end journey of stage 6, it could not be more important than now. So please, I know sometimes as a parent myself, you would question, what's my role at this particular point? And what I would say to you is, it's incredibly important to stay by their side, to reassure them, to be there to support, to be there through thick and thin. They need to know that your support is steadfast. And I know that you will do that, but please don't feel that this is the time to step back and allow them to be on their own through the journey. There will be times when they will try and push you out and say, no, I've got this, okay? But it's like walking a fine line, a tightrope at times, saying, when do I need to be there to catch you? When do I need to be there to support you? I would say to you to keep the support going. The support might look slightly different, but keep the lines of communication there. In terms of the relationship with the college, we are always there for you. The girls know that, and we keep emphasising that and reinforcing that to them. We want them to be growing to be independent, capable young women. That's what we want, and I know you want that also. But in order to reach that endpoint, that aspiration for the Chisholm graduate, there's a lot of work that goes into supporting them along that journey. We don't want too much support. We don't want too little. It's got to be just the right amount at each point on the journey. And that's different for every single student. So what I would say to you as a parent is just know that if you are concerned at any point in time, that there is always staff here to contact. And you've met some key people here tonight on the panel that will always be here for you. Err on the side of early communication and intervention. I'm saying that as the principal leader, but I'm also saying that to you as a parent, as a mum. Don't hold back and say, oh, I'll just see how this plays out. Now there's other parts that are evolving. It's getting more complex. If you're observing something that is of concern, please contact us and we can work through it with you, okay, in supporting your daughter. Everyone's journey is different. No two journeys look the same. But the students who reach that endpoint in the journey and are satisfied with they gave it their best are the ones who are open to feedback, have open lines of communication between us as the staff of the college and you as the parents. And we're working that in that incredible partnership. And it needs to be a very strong partnership. We do really want the best for your daughter. And I know you want the best. And the girls want to give their best. But together, we can make an absolutely awesome difference to the outcomes that they achieve in the journey of the HSC. So when we're looking at the journey, as you can see, has many paths, many roads. Okay, there is no one straight road. But on that journey, there will be different points where you might hit a few little road bumps, so to speak. Please remember, they're just bumps in the road, and it's only natural and normal in life that we face those things. But they are learning experiences in themselves. They are opportunities to learn about ourselves and to grow further. They are not roadblocks. It's not the end of the road. Whatever that road bump is or that hurdle, we will work with you to problem solve it, to support you and to get you through. So please, I want to say that Year 11 are an absolutely outstanding cohort of young women. Phenomenal, in fact. However, I'm a realist, been in education for a few years now, and we know what to expect. And what I'm saying to you is that along that journey, there will be different points that are tricky, where we might feel a little bit wobbly, and it's okay to ask for that support in order to work through it. We can't do this journey alone. We are here together to work through the journey. So in doing that, I want you to remember to be open to feedback. That's absolutely critical. And be ready to persevere when those bumps or problems or issues arise. Please remember that the challenges that are there before you, and there will be many challenges, are opportunities to grow further. And the journey is one that, as you can see, is not straight. Okay, nobody's journey looks like that. It goes all over the place. Okay, that's all right. It's about the learnings and the growth along the journey. And at that end point, my goodness, we have the most amazing celebration. And you might be saying, why are you talking about that? That's such a long way off. It happens so quickly, girls and parents, that you're amazed. It's like time picks up and goes faster and faster as you go through Year 11 and Year 12. I want you to enjoy the journey, and I want you to be able to flourish in your own right through the journey about what you learn about yourself as a human being, as a young woman, and as a learner, and to feel that you are equipped to face anything that life will throw at you. The girls know that we use 3 particular words here, and you'll be hearing them a lot. And they are connect, grow, flourish. When we talk about connect, for our community, it's very, very important to understand the power of positive relationships. And more than that, when we've got positive relationships, anything is possible. The girls are looking at ways in which they can connect into their learning because once they step up from year 10 into year 11, it is a significant step up. And for some of them, they're sort of saying, wow, I didn't expect that. That's okay. That's natural. That's normal to feel that way. But when we are connected as a community, we know that we are not alone. We are walking that journey together, and we can build ways to strengthen our relationships and to strengthen our connection to our learning in order to go deeper. It is through that process that all of you as Year 11 students will continue to grow. We don't stay where we are as Year 10 students. Already you've grown incredibly as you started Year 11, and you have had, I cannot emphasize this enough, such a strong and positive start to the year. I've had comments coming from staff constantly every day. My goodness, what an awesome group. They are receptive, they are cooperative, they're taking on feedback, and they want more. Is it going to be an easy journey? I would say to you, no, but you don't want it to be an easy journey. You are shooting for the award of the HSC. And to do that, you have to work hard. It's a challenge, but you will grow. And through that growth, you will feel such enormous satisfaction when you flourish in your own right. So I hope that the journey is one that allows you to grow, that allows you to learn so much about yourself and realize that you have got so much potential if you persevere, if you work hard, if you're committed, and most importantly, if you are open to feedback. When I talk about that, please understand it's not just the teacher's feedback to me. It's about feedback that might come from your peers, it might come from the whole class, it might be through self-reflecting. But feedback, if you're open to that, allows you to continuously grow and develop and be even better. So we have great hopes for you, Year 11. You're an absolutely wonderful group of young women, and I hope that through this journey, you will learn so much about yourself, you will be filled with hope, and you'll be eager to be a lifelong learner. So I'm going to hand over to Mrs. Felper. Thank you very much.
There are a number of really important points that we need to remember about formal assessment in Year 11. Now, these details did apply to students in Year 10, but you'll have a number of assessment tasks during Year 11. So it's really vital that you're clear about what the requirements are so that you can follow all the procedures. Firstly, submission by or attendance on the due date of a task is essential. If you happen to be sick on the day of a task, you must get a medical certificate on that day. This includes, for example, if you come down with COVID, get a regular medical certificate or a PCR test for that if you can. It's also necessary to be at school on the day prior to a task, even, for example, if that falls on a Friday. And the same regulations apply in terms of getting a medical certificate for your absence. You will need to complete the appeal form if you do miss a day for an assessment task, and this must be lodged at school on the very next day that you are back at school. You will then discuss with your teacher the arrangements for submitting that task or completing that on a later date. All of these requirements are to ensure that we can be fair and consistent and transparent for all of the students. So it's for your benefit as well. Remember too that technology is not grounds for an extension for an appeal. So you need to make sure that all your work is saved and protected if you're using technology. Printing, for example, if that's an issue for you at home, you need to make sure that your task is finished on the day prior so that you can come to school and print it if it's required to be handed in on paper. If you're planning to take leave, you must apply to the principal in writing at least 1 week before your leave. And you must complete a form which requires you to speak to and make arrangements with each of your teachers especially if there's a formal assessment task that falls during that time. Failure to follow these procedures could result in you getting 0 for an assessment task. And you'll note on your assessment plans that these tasks are worth considerable weightings, 25 or 30%. You will also receive then, should that happen, a formal letter which might recognise that you're in danger of not completing the requirements of a course. Plagiarism or malpractice is not something that we expect to happen, but we do need to be aware that this can happen. This includes, for example, using information from the internet or even information from other students' work. Now, if you're unsure about how to effectively research information from the internet, speak to your teacher now, express your concerns, ask questions, because even part of a task plagiarised could become a significant issue for you. Now, these are all NESA requirements, they're not school-based requirements. So if we did uncover any dishonesty or malpractice in that regard, we are obliged to complete a malpractice register for NESA. So it is our responsibility to report this. We don't usually have any issues in this regard, but these sorts of things can happen when students are stressed and they inadvertently make the wrong decision. So to avoid this, you really need to be well prepared. Speak to your teachers about your assessment task, get it started early, seek feedback, do drafts. So while all of these procedures do require us to strictly adhere to them, and they might seem like there's lots of limitations, they can in fact support you if you're sick or when life happens when you're trying to do the HSC. It's an appeal system that allows you to provide evidence of what's happening for you in your life, and then to get the extension or the assistance that you need when you have a just cause.
Before we go on to the next section, Natalie, I have our first question for you.
Go ahead.
Is there an assessment handbook?
There is, and this is on the college website. You'll find that under the tab for assessment and learning. And there's one for year 10, one for year 11, and one for year 12. And it has all the current dates for year 11 for all of your subject areas. So my advice would be to go in and have a look at that assessment plan now and do your own planning grid so that you can be aware of when all of your assessment tasks are coming up. In regard to subject selection, I've had a few students speak to me in the last couple of weeks, which is great. If you're still having any concerns in regard to that, please contact me this week, because after this week, it won't be possible to make any further subject changes. We would need to look at all NESA requirements to make sure that you can get an ATAR. If you are looking at changing your courses, there are some specific requirements that we do need to follow. And not all requests for changes could be accommodated, depending, for example, some classes, practical classes, have set limits for their numbers. But we do what we can. We really, of course, want all of our girls to be in the courses that they are happy in and that they think that they can achieve their best in. So if you're feeling uncomfortable about something or you have any queries about your course at the moment, please email me or come and see me this week as soon as you can. Now, there might be some tasks or some occasions during this year for year 11 that you might experience some challenges that are more significant than the ones you've had in year 10. You need to remember that this is part of a bigger picture. Learning is a process that Mrs. Cairns already identified. It does require some stamina, it requires resilience, but it can be very rewarding. It does require, though, year 11 and 12, some sacrifices, including, for example, fewer hours at your casual job or less free time. Research does show that 11 hours of casual work a week is probably the limit if you want to maximise your learning. So you need to consider your whole life balance. But really the main game for you now during year 11 and year 12 is your learning. You have one opportunity to do the HSC, so we really want to assist you in making sure that you can do it to the best of your ability. We found that students who focus all of their energies on their learning are able to substantially increase their level of achievement, no matter what level they're working towards. So remember, you do have support from each of your teachers. Speak to them sooner rather than later if you have any questions or you need any assistance. You're not doing this on your own. You do need to seek the support and use the structures that are provided to assist you. Think about the year 11 course that goes for 3 terms as the opportunity to extend your skills and increase your independence before you move into the HSC course. Be comfortable with being uncomfortable at times as you grow and as your teachers challenge you with new levels of work, so that when you're in year 12, you can flourish. So my final advice is to be proactive. Don't wait until you have issues or problems. Speak to your teachers early. Be prepared for each lesson. Start your assessments early and seek assistance early. Certainly, if you have any questions, I'll be here as well if you have any other issues, as are your KLA leaders. Now I'll hand over to Tabitha, who's our year 11 leader.
Lovely.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I am Miss Tabitha Brown and I'm the year 11 leader of learning. As Ms. Cairns said earlier, I am new to the college this year and very excited to be leading year 11 and working collaboratively with staff and the students to be the best that we can be for our students and for the girls. I have come from a wealth of experience in an all-girls setting as a year leader, so I'm coming with that passion and energy for our students to be the best they possibly can be. I would like to start by congratulating all of the year 11 students for bringing their best and their great start to year 11 with a focused and positive energy that they're bringing to all aspects of college life. This year, we've set the motto of bringing your best all day and every day into everything that the girls do. So we have done some work in homeroom with an excellent homeroom team to map out what this looks like and to make sure that students are taking opportunities to make the most of everything that's presented to them. You'll see our wonderful and experienced homeroom team that we have supporting year 11 this year. These include for 11 Gilmore, Martin Edwards, for 11 Jackson, Anna Dudley, 11 Kenny, Richard Cause, MacArthur, Leanne Smith, McKillop, Penny Mayborn, Bright, Diana Larson, and we have 3 awesome support team that are working with the students as well as floaters, including Farisha Hussein, Robert Mudge and Janelle Dunn. I also have the privilege of working with Charmaine Rossetto as the year assistant, who is working with the girls closely to develop those skills with them. This homeroom team and leaders are responsible for a pastoral program that is carried out that's specific to the year 11 girls' needs. We have lessons that focus on connection, growth and flourishing so the girls can be the best possible versions of themselves and set themselves up for success throughout senior school. We continue to have high expectations for year 11 and we'll challenge the girls to be the best that they possibly can be. But in order for this to happen, and as you've seen as a theme throughout tonight, we need the support from home as well. So working in partnership to ensure that your daughter achieves her full potential. If you have any concerns regarding your daughter, please don't hesitate to contact us. If they're particular to a specific subject, they can contact the class teacher or the relevant leader of learning. Alternatively, if the matter is of a pastoral nature, you can contact the homeroom teacher or myself as soon as possible to ensure that early intervention. As Ms. Cairns mentioned earlier, that relationship and that continued partnership is vital for success. So we're all part of that learning journey with the girls. In addition to that, in order for the girls to be successful, they need to make sure they're attending school. So that attendance is vital for their success, and we aim for the girls to have that 90% and above attendance rate. This attendance will be tracked and maintained to ensure that the girls are making every chance to be the best learners they can be and not missing those informations that's being presented in class, and as well as opportunities at school too. Studies have shown there's a correlation between attendance and academic success and school achievement. So the higher the attendance, obviously the higher rate of success and achievement is going to be. And that's really important for the girls to flourish. If they're not at school, they're missing that important information that's related to their subjects, but they're also missing that opportunity for that social interaction and growth too. We also have the real importance of setting goals this year for all of the students. So the girls have been asked to set goals in each of their subjects and put in place strategies to help achieve those goals. So they've been working closely with their homeroom teachers and their classroom teachers to establish those goals. And
have regular check-ins to maintain their accountability with setting those goals and achieving them. Now, we do know that there's times where you can come off task or you can get a little bit distracted. So it's important that the girls are reminded of that and putting in strategies in place to help maintain that motivation to achieve those goals. And some of our pastoral lessons have focused on some of those points on screen to ensure that, with a positive psychology focus as well. So acknowledging the girls' strengths and what they're doing well and using that to push forward and succeed. In addition to that, the expectations are naturally higher in year 11 and 12, and the workload does increase. So there'll be a period of adjustment where the pace of lessons become a lot faster and the workload increases. On top of this, there's the extracurricular commitments that the students have too. So we're fully aware of that, but it's also important that they maintain balance and look after their well-being. So they need to make sure that they're getting enough sleep, they're getting exercise, time outside, but they're also eating well too. Because if all of those areas are covered, we'll see that flourishing in what they're doing. So it's important that if they are stressed or there's issues that are taking away from their well-being, that they put in strategies and talk to someone to get that support. It's, as has been said before tonight as well, communication is vital. So, and it's so important to ensure that those lines of communication are consistently open. So if you feel that your daughter, or girls, if you feel like one of your peers or yourself are struggling and in need of support, come early for that early intervention so it doesn't escalate. We are all on this journey together, so it's more important that we reach for help when needed. And those challenges are okay, but we need to take the growth out of them in order to flourish. So we're all in this together, and make sure that you've got your people that you can rely on for that. And that comes through communication. I would now like to hand over to Nikki as our partnership manager.
Thanks, Tabitha.
That's okay.
Well, I'm just sitting here and Tanya has said something that I wanted to say. Natalie has said something that I wanted to say. Tabitha, I could just stand up and go. You guys have done the job. I've been at Chisholm for 3 years now, and it's gone like that.
Yeah.
Like, it's just flown by. When I started, the current year 11s were in year 8. And you just think, wow, how did that happen, right? In a blink of an eye. And girls, I say this every year, and everyone goes, yeah, whatever, Nikki. But it's going to happen. I promise you this. You are going to wake up in a few days' time and be sitting the HSC exam, because it just goes so fast. Well, not literally a few days' time, but you get what I mean. My job is about supporting you, and I work with Cara Oliver as well in our partnerships and pathways, supporting you to work out what's going to happen in 2 years' time when you walk out of these school gates for the last time. You'll be crying and I don't want to leave, but we're going to make sure that you've got a plan and you're ready to go, and you're really excited about what's next for you after life as a Chisholm girl. And the other thing we say all the time is, once a Chisholm girl, always a Chisholm girl. That applies to you, Mrs. Fella, doesn't it? Yes. And a number of our other staff as well. So, you know, I'm really lucky in my work because I get to do lots of this really exciting stuff. We're here to support you if you're planning on university or TAFE. TAFE is one of the most underrated options ever. And I talk to the girls a lot about TAFE. It's brilliant. Other private colleges, traineeships, apprenticeships, work, gap years. I can help you guys, you know, talk about what are you interested in? What are you hoping to achieve? What are your goals? We can coach you around that. And we don't tell you what we think you should do. We let you tell us what you want to do, and then we help you get there. My biggest advice is, don't wait until year 12. Please don't wait till like August of year 12, because it's happened.
Yeah.
And by that stage, like, people are like stressing out. It's my job to do the stressing for you, but I need to know what I'm stressing about. So come along, speak to one of the Pathways coaches, myself or Cara. Tell us what you're hoping to achieve, and we can help you with some goal setting around that. And it's actually so much fun.
It is.
the coaching sessions. Like I get so excited. I want to do 1,000 different university degrees. I'm planning on going back and, you know,
I'm sure you are. Nikki,
doing some urban
can I
planning.
ask you a question too?
Absolutely.
So I'm glad that you've emphasised the importance of the lots of conversations, little conversations as we go across the next 2-year journey. Can you talk to the girls about your lovely space that you have in the library?
Yeah, we have
Please.
great space in the library. It was called the old library meeting room, and I'm still waiting for someone to come up with an amazing name for that space.
Might have a competition with that one.
Oh, I suggested Narnia, but Mrs. Cairns didn't like it. I don't know why. Anyhow, we have this great space, loads of resources, beautiful furniture. It's comfortable and welcoming.
It is.
You can come in and ask questions. You can poke through all the course guides and have a look at what some of your options are. We've got slides constantly rolling over on the TV screen in there that are all about the sort of career and future focused.
But that's your Pathways coaching space.
Yeah.
So the girls are welcome to come in there, sit in the booth, sit in the comfy chairs, grab the resources.
Chairs are so good. You can even put your feet up. Did you know that? It's so good. Don't let me find you napping in there, Mrs. Cairns.
No, I'm tempted to close the door.
But yeah, it is a beautiful space. So when you walk into the library, it's immediately on your left. And you know, it's your space to use.
That's exactly right. It was designed for them, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's not my space.
No.
It's your space. And the other thing is, one last little thing before we wrap up. As I have these conversations with girls across, you know, 2 years or 3 years, and what happens if I'm having conversation with them across an extended period of time, as opposed to meeting with them at the last minute, is that their ideas grow and develop and change, and they start having career conversations with people that they know, and they explore one option and then go, oh no, I don't think that was what that was for me. I'm so glad I didn't go down that pathway. So allowing people to really develop their thoughts and ideas about their future. The other thing is, it's okay if you don't know what you want to do yet.
No.
I'm 49 and I'm still not quite sure what I want to do when I grow up. But you just have to decide what to do first.
Yes. That's a great point.
Taking that first step is something that we can help you with, you know.
But one thing that I notice when you're having these conversations, you're definitely doing a lot of strength spotting, aren't you? Looking at those characteristics or traits, and then looking at the subjects that they study, they're their passions, and marrying all of those pieces of information up together and joining the dots. And I know that that's very illuminating for the girls.
Yeah, sometimes they've never thought about, oh, I'm really good at this, or on the weekends, I love doing this. And I can actually do that for work.
Yes.
You know, there are so many options,
Exactly.
much more than when I was at school. So lots of exciting, fun
That's
things
fabulous.
ahead for you guys. But please reach out. Don't leave it to the last minute, because we're ready to talk to you right now.
We certainly are. Well, thank you so much for that, Nikki.
You're welcome.
So do we have other questions that are coming through?
Let me check.
We just need to.
I've got 1,000 screens open at the moment. Nothing on Facebook. And
So just while Nikki's doing that, if I could just add to one of the points that Mrs. Vella made to you, and that's about applying for leave. So just so we're clear about that, we do need as much forewarning, and we understand from time to time that it can be unexpected or unforeseen circumstances. There may be, for instance, a death in the family and you're required to go interstate or overseas. Okay, so that's fine. But in terms of requesting holiday leave or something of that nature, we try and keep that to an absolute minimum across year 11 and 12 where possible. So we're open to it. We're not saying a flat no, but for your own sake, it's very easy to feel like you're falling behind, and we certainly don't want that for you. Is there any other points or any other questions?
a question has come through, which is for me. So it's about, I know, who knew? It's about work experience. Are year 11 students offered the opportunity for work experience? And look, we don't do a whole cohort work experience. We don't do that in year 10 as some schools do. We we do allow the girls the opportunity for work experience if it's relevant, and they self-source it. So if a student is interested enough to find an opportunity, we will support them in that. And there's been some great students who have been off doing work experience in year 11, like some amazing, the Centre for Quantum Computing and Technology, Greater Sydney, Western Sydney Parklands Authority, you know,
Yes.
so these girls are going to these amazing law firms and stuff, which is brilliant, and we will support them absolutely in that, but they must self-source that, and they have to take responsibility for catching up on any missed work, of course, if they're away from school. For that reason, we do encourage girls to go on work experience during school holidays. You know,
Most
it's
definitely.
and we also really try for the girls not to do work experience in year 12. So if they're super keen and they want to do something in work experience now or for their future, they should try and do it during year 11. All they need to do is get in contact with myself or Cara, and we will talk about the experience, the opportunity, we'll check everything's safe, we'll get all the paperwork filled out, and they'll be right to go.
Very good. That sounds superb. Any other points from our panel?
Oh, I've got another question,
Oh,
which
have
is for
you?
you, Natalie.
Excellent.
When would be the latest you can drop down from advanced maths to standard maths?
Yes, we get the same thing with advanced English and standard, don't we, Miss Villa?
Yes. Look, you can change courses, change levels within a course at various periods of time. Now, if you've only just started your course, what I would suggest is that you take the opportunity to, work at the course for a little bit, see what it's like, talk to your teacher before you want to make any of those decisions. If you're doing English extension at the moment, for example, that is something that we need to consider and talk about, because that will affect your pattern of study because it's one unit course. But if you really are having some issues or queries about whether you're doing English advanced and you should or shouldn't be, or whether you're doing maths advanced or shouldn't be, the first point of call is to talk to your teacher about that, to determine what's most appropriate for you, and then we can have a conversation about how to go ahead with that.
Wonderful.
I've been having some coaching conversations with some of the year 11 girls very early this term, and some of them have had questions about subject changes, like a total subject change or dropping a unit, like an extra 2 units or whatever it happens to be. If the girls are freaking out about, oh, what do I do? What's their first thing they need to do tomorrow morning?
They could do is email me or come to see me at lunchtime. What we'll need to do is look at what the reasons are for their change. Now, I understand if a student says this isn't the course that I expected it to be. We do want you to be in the courses where you're going to be happy and you're going to achieve. At this point, your options might be a bit limited as to what other subjects are on at the same time as the one that you want to change out of. So we'll have a look at what the other options are. Sometimes there's a possibility, if there's more than one class of the same subject, for you to switch around a couple of your subjects. So we'll do what we can to accommodate you and to make sure that you're happy in the course that you're doing. But we really do need to sort that out this week, because as time goes on, if you're switching into another course, it would be much more difficult to catch up with whatever you've missed. So if you're having any queries at all, speak to your teacher straight away about what is going to happen in that course, or come and see me and talk about what other options there are so that we can have a look and talk through them with you.
That's good. So I know where to send them, Natalie, when they ask those questions.
We do.
That's fantastic. A question from me,
Yes.
which I get from some of the year 11s, is, can you tell me about early entry to university? Early entry is not something you need to worry about in year 11.
Yeah.
So don't stress about that. Don't stress about UAC applications or anything to do with
much
uni.
further down the track.
But what we do is start exploring.
Of course.
So if you're looking, we can chat about that. But the actual whole application process, it's mundane, and you don't need to worry about that until probably about April next year.
Yeah. So it's a long way off, isn't it?
Yeah.
One of the questions that I was asked the other day is around the practical courses. So visual arts, could be technology and design, some of those subjects, or even society and culture that involves a major piece of work, a body of work or a large submission. And the question was around, do we sort of do that in preliminary and then we repeat that again in the HSC course? And I thought that was a very, very good question. And I'm going to ask Julie if she could respond to that. And Natalie, if you have anything to add to it, because Julie is a visual arts educator. So I think that experience will be able to help clarify any concerns around that.
Yeah, so when it comes to major works, and this goes for any subject, not necessarily for the creative arts, we look at the skills that we need to build upon within the preliminary. So we use the terms and language of body of work and major works. However, it's not to the full capacity of what the Year 12 course is going to look like. We're still working on building and developing the skill sets that you're going to acquire when it comes to actually generating those body of works when you come into the Year 12 course. And then once you hit the Year 12 course, then we start actually working and developing on the major works and building and developing. And you've got a certain amount of weeks in which you need to have them completed. And we map that all out with the students and we give them a timeline to keep to and chunk it down into smaller bite-sizable pieces so it doesn't feel so overwhelming. And we guide them through all that process to ensure that they are, meeting the correct timelines and check markers to ensure that they're producing the best work that they possibly can.
Thank you for that, because I think a lot of the students are stressing about that, wondering about what does that look like as the Year 11 journey. And then, for some of them, they're frightened of the enormity of it. And it is big, but I would agree with what Julie's saying in terms of the teachers are very experienced, they're highly professional, they're up to the minute with all the best processes around how to support you in making sure that you get there and you achieve your goal and endpoint. And I know, Miss Vella, in your area of the HSC, we have society and culture. What would you say in relation to that?
Yes, so whether it's creative arts or TAS or even society and culture, you really do need to use your Year 11 experience to not only build the skills, but also the planning skills that Julie was talking about there. It does seem a little bit scary because for these subjects, you do have to use a lot of outside of school hours time. So Ms. Ken spoke early on about communicating and planning and everybody supporting the students together. So it's really important that girls doing those practical subjects share their assessment plans with their parents, talk about what times they have outside of school hours to do the extra hours and extra planning for their practical subjects or for their society and culture PIP. Because learning those skills, planning your time, adhering to your own schedules and being committed to that is really important to work through in Year 11, so that then when you get to the major work in Year 12, you've got those skills, you've got those habits, and you've got easy communication within your family about when those things are going to happen and the needs that you'll have to spend a lot of time on those practical subjects outside of school hours.
That's wonderful advice. So thank you very much for that. Have we had any other additional questions come through?
I think we just seem to have nailed it. We've
an awesome presentation.
I think we've answered everybody's questions. What we do say is, if you're watching this later on and you type in a question, obviously it's not live, so we can't answer that live, but we can pop back and see if there are other questions. But there's nothing seems to be coming through. So I think good job, girls.
And look, I would just add to that by saying that we've had several year meetings at the end of last year when we're going through the subject selection process. Largely speaking, I feel that the girls have listened to the advice and direction of their teachers and the KLA leaders, and I think they've selected very, very well and wisely. So, but that doesn't mean we always get it right, or there may be a particular subject that just isn't sitting well for you. So you've heard that message consistently this evening. take responsibility as an independent Year 11 student and come forward and express your concern. Don't keep worrying about it. Don't keep, the anxiety levels go up. We don't want that for you. If you've got a concern, Mrs. Vella will talk it through with you. And sometimes just having that conversation, she has a very calming way about her, is enough. Because then you can say, well, really, is that a concern? No, that wasn't a concern. We've talked about it and I can push through. I can problem solve that. So, girls, I think you have selected well. I think you've started the year well. We're starting strong, and together we will ensure that you achieve your goals. So I want to thank each and every one of the panel members and the IT support that we have in Matt and John, who are behind the scenes. They've been absolutely incredible and they make all of this possible. So thank you to them. I want to thank you, the students and the parents and carers of this amazing Chisholm community. Without your support, we have nothing, but together we can make a difference and achieve wonderful things. Thank you, everyone, and enjoy your evening.